Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. So you might notice that I am not in my studio today. We thought we'd be home by now, but we've had just a little bit of a layover here, continuing to do some work for some family here in California. And so I just thought it might be kind of nice for me to share with you the beautiful environment that we are in. This is an area just south of Tahoe, Lake Tahoe in California. And my brother and sister-in-law, my husband's sister, and her family have relocated here and needed a little bit of help with a project. And so we came down to assist. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out in this. Let me help you see. Let's see if I can switch this around. I cannot switch it around. So we'll just do a quick little pan behind me of the view. This is the view from what is essentially their patio that goes all the way around their house. Isn't that lovely? It smells so beautiful, pine trees, and though it's a little warmer today, last week it was kind of cooler, and so it just felt like fall. And I grew up in California, so this is just really reminiscent of home. At any rate, this is not where we live, and it's not what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we are going to cover the last page from the Rock of Cashel. So this is the event that you've been waiting for. Let's check out my workspace, and we'll get started on today's layout. So this is my workspace for today, and I apologize if the lighting is not as nice as in my studio at home, or as bright anyway. But I am sitting here in my sister-in-law's kitchen, and with her beautiful countertops. And this is my workspace for today. And so I brought along on our trip some of the things that I had previously put together, and thought, well, I might be able to use those in a pinch if I needed to do a video for you while I was here. I also brought some photos, the next photos in the series for this Ireland trip, so that I could do them up if needed. And I'm glad I did, because we got delayed out here, and so this enables me to keep you in videos. And so I brought these along. If you have been watching my 101.5 videos over the last few weeks, you may have seen the lesson that we talked about using decorative blades to create frames for your pages. Not just frames for your photos, but frames to decorate and design your pages with. And so these are some of the pieces that I cut using the decorative blades. Specifically, I think I used the colonial blade on this one. I think that's which one that one is. And then this one is, I believe this one is the pinking blade, but don't quote me on that. If you did not learn how to do these, go back and watch that 101.5 lesson, and it will explain it all, and you'll be able to see exactly which blades I used, okay? I'm going to use several of these pieces. I have 4 of them in front of me. I have a couple out to the side in case I decide I want to use those as well. But mainly I'm going to use the 2 larger ones and the 2 kind of medium-sized ones. And we're just going to use them to kind of design our page just a little bit. I'm going to, I think, place these smaller ones on the right here so that they are offset from each other, the darker one underneath. And these 2 over here are gonna just become kind of a double matted frame. And so first of all, I'm just going to grab my repositionable adhesive, and we're going to get these put together. So the photos that I brought today are that funny event. Odd things happen when you're on vacation. This was an odd thing that happened during our vacation. And so we're going to talk about it, and much to Emily's chagrin, we're going to talk about it. But, and you'll see why when we get to the photos. But that's the subject of today's layout, so you're going to get the full skinny today. All right, so that's put together. Now I'm going to go ahead and set this down on here. And I am using repositionable adhesive today, mostly because I didn't pack enough of my permanent adhesive, but also because I failed to pack the page from last time. So I'm gonna need to lift this layout off this page and relocate it into, I'm gonna turn this, relocate it to the appropriate back of the page for the other pages in the Ireland album, which shouldn't be too much trouble because we should be on our way home tomorrow, so that should all work. But okay, so that one's down, and I should be able to lift that off. My photos are mainly going to be adhered to the frame, except for the one embellishment that we're going to build in just a little bit. And so I'm going to build that in a way that I might not normally, so that I can more easily lift that off the page as well. Okay, so these again are the two largest frames that I made, and the two just smaller than that. And these are made with two different colors of cardstock. I believe this is lime green and avocado, but please don't quote me on that either. I may be leading you astray. It should say in that other video which cardstock I'm using. All right, so we're gonna just go with that. And let's grab, we're gonna build the embellishment that we're gonna use with this. So I'm just gonna kind of move these forward a little bit so I have some room to work. I grabbed some pieces of that newer cardstock that CM came out with, the stuff that is one color on one side and a different color on the other. So I have the yellow, I have the pink, which is dark pink and lighter pink, and I have the blue, which is blue and light blue. And I'm just noticing that I'm actually gonna need some red cardstock too. So hold on just a second, let me go grab that. Okay, so I have red cardstock, true red cardstock, and I have the blue, the two-tone blue, the two-tone pink, and the yellow and orange. And what we're gonna do is we're going to cut some squares with it, and we're gonna make a hopscotch, which I have designed right here. I measured and drew this out on a separate piece of paper, thinking that I was just sort of making a rough idea, and then I could just sort of build it on my page. But because I need to lift, part of this is going to go on this page, and I think part of it's going to go on this page. And if that happens, I need to have something that I can lift it off of all in one piece to move it. So since this is on the back of one of our cover sheets from another collection, this is photo safe paper, I'm going to go ahead and use this and glue or adhere my pieces right directly onto this so that I can then cut this out and use this to keep all these pieces together. Now, at least that's the plan. Let's see how that works. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my 12-inch trimmer, and for the pieces that are right next to each other vertically, these pieces, the 1, 2, 5, 6, and 9, are going to measure 1 1/4 square. The pieces that are stacked vertically, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 10, and 11, these are gonna measure 1 3/8 square. And so a total of 2 3/4 from top to bottom. And so depending on what color is where will kind of determine the size that we need to cut. So I have a light blue that's 1 1/4. So let's just cut a strip that's 1 1/4 of the blue. And we'll turn this and we'll cut it at 1 1/4 as well. This will be that first light blue piece right there. Then we're gonna have I've got another light blue piece that's also 1 1/4 square. So that piece will go there. Then I've got 2 blue pieces that are both 1 3/8. So I'm gonna set this strip aside because it's not gonna be the correct size. We're gonna do a strip that is 1 3/8. That way we can turn this and make it square at 1 3/8. So that's the darker blue. One 3/8. That one is 1 3/8. And that looks too big to me. So I goofed somewhere in my drawing, but let's see if it will come together anyway. All right, let's see. Pink, we're gonna do, I need a 1 3/8 that's dark, and I need, okay, let's see, we're gonna do a 1 1/4 strip. These are, one is dark and one is light, so we can just easily flip them over. So there's a dark pink, and we're gonna do another 1 1/4. And this one is the light pink, that's gonna go there. I've got a dark pink that needs to be bigger, so let's use this. This is not going to be the right size, not quite wide enough. So we're going to measure this out at 1 3/8. And turn it and measure 1 3/8. So that is dark pink, and it's gonna go, where's it gonna go? There, dark pink, okay. Then we need 2, I think I wanna get a bigger piece for the yellow and the orange. That one is kind of small, so let's go ahead and do the red. And then I'll go grab that other piece of cardstock. So 1 3/8 for the red. I'm gonna turn this to 1 3/8. That's gonna go there. Do I have another red? I do not have another red. But we could replace this orange down here with a red. I'm gonna cut one just in case, and then we'll have a little bit of room, wiggle room, as it were, to see if we can move things around a little. Okay, so bear with me a second. I'm gonna go grab that full sheet of yellow. All right, actually, I found this, which will work just fine. We don't need a full sheet. All right, so we need a 1 1/4 square of yellow and a 1 3/8. So I'm gonna cut this at 1 3/8. And then go ahead and cut that squared at 1 3/8. For this orange piece right here. And then the yellow needs to be 1 1/4. So I'm just gonna cut that at 1 1/4. And then I'm gonna turn it and trim off that 1/4 inch so that that's at 1 1/4. Just take that 1/8 of an inch off. Okay, so that's gonna go there. All right, let's see. I think I like that. And then this piece down here, we're gonna use an oval. So this is the smallest in the set of 4 ovals for the custom cutting system. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use a red blade. So it's gonna cut as true, as close to the outside edge of this as possible. And because on this journey I did not bring my cutting mat, I have some cardboard from some pocket pages, some 8x8 pocket pages I've been using while I've been here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just use this real quick. So I'm gonna align my my oval at the kind of at the halfway point. I'm just lining up this center or the edge of the yellow paper with the middle of this oval that's right in the middle. I don't need a whole oval, I only need half. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut half. Now, this is not the recommended method for using this. A self-healing mat really works best, but in a pinch, some cardboard will do. And I have had to make do while we've been here. So this is the top of our hopscotch. All right, so I think I like that. I'm trying to decide if I feel like I need more orange, less red. I don't know. I think it'll be okay just like that. Let's just leave it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these pieces to the layout, just the way it is. And let's see how far we get. Okay, well, now that I'm at the end, I'm gonna go ahead and put my oval, my half an oval on, and I'm going to make it go all the way to the edge So I'm going to make the arch touch the top edge here and align this point at the bottom edge of my paper. Keep that straight edge straight. Now we can go ahead and put these last two squares, 10 and 11, on, and they will cover up any inconsistencies that we have. Well, at least that was the plan, but look, my arch doesn't quite make it. So that's kind of disappointing. What did I do? Clearly I calculated something a little bit off, because you can see how my lines are showing here at the end. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna make that go all the way to the, so this is touching the bottom of the bottom edge of my paper. I'm going to realign that so that that's touching as well. And then I'm just gonna use my pencil. And where's my oval again? Let's see if maybe I can just I'll just draw the arch and have to cut it with my scissors. Fiddly cutting, that's what scrapbooking can sometimes be about. All right, so we're gonna cut it there. Okay, so that it meets the point. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my scissors. Okay, so I brought my precision point scissors. I have my long handled ones as well, but for now I'm just gonna go ahead and use these. And I'm gonna just cut around this cute little hopscotch and cut it out from this big paper. And actually, first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this off so that it's a little easier to manage. Like that. Okay. So if you don't like fiddly cutting, I apologize, but sometimes it cannot be avoided. Let's go ahead and we'll fast forward through this part so that you don't have to watch me meticulously cut this out. All right, so that is going to work nicely, I think, for what we need. I was thinking as I was cutting this out that maybe it would have looked nice if I had used some of my Ireland papers to make this hopscotch, but I'm not sure if the Ireland papers would have given the same type of effect that I was looking for, so maybe this will be okay. All right, then I'm gonna trim this one just a little bit closer. If I can, but my hands are shaking. That's not good. Okay, that's better. All right. So now we've got our hopscotch. We'll come back in and add the details on the hopscotch a little later. But let's go ahead and add some pictures to this so you can understand why I'm adding the hopscotch in the first place. So the last layout that we did was on the side buildings, these buildings right here that were to the side of the chapel, the side of Cormac's Chapel, and then there was some buildings that were built a little bit later. I think it said they were built in 1600, maybe. I may be getting that wrong. But my husband and I walked in these buildings, looked around, and when we came out of the building, we saw this group of people that were huddled around this remnant of a cross that is where our tour started, if you recall. And then we realized that we knew the people that were standing around in that little huddle. And we knew the people that were standing around that little huddle because our beautiful Emily was on the ground. And this is my mom, this is Emily, this is my daughter Heidi standing over her. And what had transpired while we were inside of these buildings back here was Emily decided to put our tour guide's story of the fable of this cross right here. This is a remnant of a cross that looked somewhat like this. And it had kind of a legend to it. And the legend went something like this. And I may not get it exactly right, and I apologize ahead of time. But the legend went something like this. Anyone who hops on one foot around the cross completely will get married within the year. Emily is 27 and would really like to be married. And so she just for a lark thought, why not? I'm here. I might as well try it, right? So she started from over here, I believe, and she made it all the way around to this side. And you may notice, it's not as visible in this photo, but in this one, it's much more noticeable. You can see how the edges of these steps become really jagged and kind of irregular. Well, she got a little bit too close to the edge and she turned her ankle significantly and went down. And these two lovely ladies came over and helped her and brought every coat, blanket, everything they could think of to put over her. They didn't want her to move because they were worried that she had hurt her back. And so we were trying hard to accommodate them so that they felt better. And obviously we wanted to make sure Emily was well, but after a bit, it kind of became apparent that Emily was fine, apart from her ankle. And but they still insisted that we wait until the ambulance arrived. They called an ambulance, and so we were waiting for the ambulance. And the ambulance had at first had several calls that they were out on, and so the dispatcher said, I'm not sure when they'll be able to get there, but I'm gonna send them, and hopefully it won't take too long. And they said, yes, please, because this person is on the ground, and it rained last night, and it's relatively chilly, and it just would be better for all concerned if we could get her taken care of and on her way, right? So fortunately, this was at the end of all of our touring, if you've been watching the videos that I've been making. And so, you know, then that we were basically done with our visit to the Rock of Cashel. But because we needed to wait and ensure that her back was okay and find out what needed to happen with her ankle, we were waiting for the ambulance. So we sat down, and this is our tour guide, Tony. He came over and brought a blanket and the wheelchair from the bus that we were in. You might recall that when I did the page that had the wheelchair in it, when we first arrived at this location, I said that's a little bit of foreshadowing there, because there was a picture of Emily standing with the wheelchair that we brought just in case, but it was brought mainly with the idea that my mom's back might act up and she may need it, or my back might act up and I might need it. And so at any rate, neither one of us ended up needing the wheelchair. Emily was the one that ended up needing the wheelchair. So, unfortunate for her, sadly. But it all worked out in the end. And we had a nice conversation while we waited for the lovely paramedics to arrive. I'm just gonna lower this just a little bit. Because I had just a couple of extra pictures, I'm gonna use some peekaboo pockets on this layout. So I'll show you what I'm planning to do. I did not bring the peekaboo pockets with me, so I'm gonna have to do those at a later time. But these two crosses, this one and this one, are gonna go in a peekaboo pocket because I just think they're really cool and I don't wanna not include them. So they're gonna cover up this picture of the two lovely ladies that worked there they're tour guides, I'm sure, at the Rock of Cashel. And I don't remember their names offhand. I do have them noted in my trip notes though, so that I can journal that on the page. But that's gonna go over top, excuse me, over top of them. And then this picture with this is actually a replica. I think I told you that in the other video when we started the Rock of Cashel. But this, they created a replica of this because the weather was just continuing to deteriorate it and they didn't want it to disappear completely. So they took the original and have it in another area where it's not being affected by the elements. And this one is the one that's out here on display. And so this is gonna go into a 4x4 peekaboo pocket. And I'm just gonna put it right here in the middle over top of these two photos. At least that's my thought, okay? Then the half of the hopscotch is, oh, pardon me, my word. Half of the hopscotch is going to go on this page. And I think what I might do is go ahead and cut it right here. But let's check out the other photos that need to go on the other page first. So this is, of course, we had them pose. We had the ambulance guys and the paramedics pose with us for a photo. They, I'm sure, thought we were crazy Americans, but that's okay. We have earned that title, so we'll go with it. Another thing we thought was interesting that we learned and experienced while we were there is, and I think I mentioned this in another video, that in order to be buried on this mountain, and they do continue to do burials on this site, the Rock of Cashel, you have to have had your name on a list, a very special list, and you have to have been a citizen of Cashel at a certain point, and I'm failing to remember just now what that point was, but if you were on that list and you pass away, then you have the right to choose to be buried here on the Rock of Cashel. And it just so happened that the day that we were there, they were having a funeral and going to inter someone, am I saying that right? Inter someone there in the cemetery, which is on the other side of the castle. And this hearse rolled in while we were waiting for or just as the paramedics had arrived. And so everyone was teasing Emily, don't worry, they're not here for you. She was a little nervous there for half a second. So I have to include this picture with the hearse and her wheelchair and not needing the gurney, thank goodness, and all of that fun stuff. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this picture down. And this picture up here is a photo of the Rock of Cashel, the castle that I found on one of the cute pieces of scrapbook paper that I bought from, I think it came from scrapbook.com, like Reminisce or something like that, I believe. And so I decided this needed a home, and this being the last layout from the rock specifically, I felt like it needed to go with this. So it's gonna go up here in the corner. We're gonna put our hopscotch to represent Emily's hopping. We're gonna put it right here, and I think the thought I had was that I would go ahead and turn this so that it was coming down this way, and then I can write a quick story down here. So I'm gonna scoot this as far as I can scoot it. That's still gonna give me roughly 1/4 of an inch or so here. I'm gonna use my guillotine trimmer to cut that off. Let's see, so this was 1 3/8, and we want it to be, let's just cut the 3/8 part off. Let's do that, that'll work. Okay, so I'm gonna do like that and have this come down and this go across. Maybe I'll just tuck that up underneath so that it's not taking quite so much room. Let's see. So yes, you can see Emily's sweet ankle right here and the bruising that started by the time we got to our hotel. She was a trooper, but it was not the most fun experience for her. Of course, I think if the paramedic had been super cute, that it might have changed things. And he was super cute, but just a little bit older than she expected. Anyway. I think I'm gonna be okay with that. Maybe I should have just kept it going across. I don't know. Maybe we should have just not covering up anything important. If we do that, then I have more room to write. So maybe we'll just do that. All right, this one, come here. My hands are dry and I'm having a hard time grabbing things. Let's line these up. Line these up. That fits perfect. All right, and so let's see, as far as embellishing goes, I have a cute kangaroo who's going to be doing some hopping, sharing with us that he's been hopping. And we're going to put him about here. But let's see, I need to grab my pen. And, oh, it's not my pen. What am I thinking? Here they are. We need numbers on the squares. Numbers on the squares. So we're gonna use the skinny side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6. And 7 and 8. I'll just go ahead and do all the numbers really quick. 5 and 4. And 3. Two and 1. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I can't remember if this is 12 or if this is home. It's been too long. If you know, will you let me know? And then I'll fill that in. So we're just gonna sort of place our cute little kangaroo right here. Notice his eyes looking down, kind of going, uh-oh, this is a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I'm just gonna go back in and I'm gonna dot these just to give them a little more emphasis. Just using the fat end of my dual tip pen for that. Okay, and then I'll come back and add the appropriate sentiment in there as well. Now I have a couple of other things we could add to this as embellishments. I just had thrown these in my bag, so if these are not appropriate, I can always wait and do the embellishments later, but I just thought maybe we try and put a couple of them on here. Also gonna put, sometimes you slide down the rainbow, other times you hop off the edge. We love Emily. She's never a dull moment. I have I'm just here for the shenanigans, or shamrock and roll, which I feel like kind of works. With the luck of the Irish, shamrock and roll. those two would be good. I can put that kind of right there. And we'll put this one kind of up here. And I'm gonna add some cute little shamrocks. And let's see. Just go right there. And we're gonna add, what can we add to the shamrock and wall? Some flowers. A little more pink, or shamrocks. Or we could add one of these guys. Let's do the medium-sized one. The shamrock. So the cool part, is there a cool part to any of this? But a cool part that went along with this story was, by the time we got to our hotel, a very sweet, we asked the receptionist, we explained to her what happened at the hotel, and we asked her if there was a pharmacy where we could go and buy Emily some crutches so that she could still walk around with us. And the sweet lady at the desk said, "How long will you be here?" And we said, "Well, we'll be here another night." And she said, I think I may have some at home. Let me go check." And we said, "Oh, okay, great." We went and walked down the way to get some dinner. And by the time we got back to the hotel, she had left and gone home and retrieved a pair of crutches that Emily ended up using quite a bit of the time for the remainder of our trip, which was very, very sweet of her to do. We sincerely appreciated it, and she was amazing. And I will share with you which hotel she was at in the next few layouts. But you know, hospitality is such a unique industry. Things come up that you don't expect, and it is so nice to know that even when you're traveling abroad, there are people recognize that we're all just people, you know? We all just have the same needs and wants. We want to have families. We want to keep our families safe. We want to have them be comfortable. You know, it's just nice. It was nice to feel so well taken care of by Tony, our driver, from Little Jim's, and by the paramedics, by the ladies that worked there who were so caring and concerned, by the people at the hotel who bent over backwards to help us. It was just really lovely, and we felt seen and cared for, and it was just lovely. I'm just putting a little stitch on this to add to it, It doesn't take much, but I think it really adds a lot to the layout. It gives it kind of a finished look. So just a few stitches along each edge for each color adds, I think, just enough pop to kind of give it a finished tone. You can use a straight edge to do this, or you can just draw them in. Depends on how confident you are about drawing in your dashes. But I'm going to finish that across here, so when you see the flip through, you'll see that. Let me know what you think about this layout. I was also going to show you that the next page I went ahead and did. So while we were up here waiting for all the paramedics, the rest of our group decided it was lunchtime and they were hungry. So they all wandered down into the town of Cashel, and they found this lovely restaurant, I think it's Bose and Company, and they had the most wonderful gelato and desserts, of course, and this says banoffee eclair. My daughter Emily makes a banoffee pie, which is very yummy, but we had not seen that as an eclair before. And this looks like cheesecake. I think that's strawberry cheesecake. And they sat there and they ate their lunch, and then they brought us back lunch. So by the time we got down to where the bus was, we waited just a little bit, and they came and joined us and brought us some to-go lunches so that we could have lunch and be on our way. But that kind of concludes our experiences at the Rock of Cashel. It was memorable, it was gorgeous, it was very historic, and we learned so much there. And that isn't the end of this day of the trip, but it is the end of our visit to the Rock of Cashel. And the next couple of layouts, I think, will focus on the little town that we stayed in for the evening, because this kind of completed our day so that Emily could rest, and we rearranged some things on the trip itinerary so that we could still get to what we wanted to get to and see, but she could have a little bit of time to rest her ankle. Thanks so much for joining me today. This was fun, and I think it turned out pretty well. If you'd like information on this layout, let me know, and I would be happy to explain how this layout went together. It's pretty simple. I just used 12-inch stickers and cut them to create these two journaling areas and the corner and the corners. And then these two, I'll just tell you now, sorry. This one, and this one, these are 4x4 photos. These three are 3.5 by 3.5. This page is a little bit different because I was trying to accommodate this vertical photo and this horizontal photo without cutting off the details. So I just sort of cut them so that everything fit. But these two are 4x4 down here in the corner. This one is also 4x4. And the rest of them are sort of cut so that they fit. I hope that helps. Again, thanks so much for joining me as I scrapbook on the run, sort of, or certainly well away from my studio. And until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day.